Coach Leah Eft from the Edison volleyball team. And Coach, thank you so much for getting on and being with us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Coach, we always like to start off with that meet the team segment. So without further ado, I want to give you the chance to introduce us to this 2022 edition of the Wildcats.
Oh, do you usually look at like the full team together?
Yeah, you could go full roster, highlight the big names, the new names that you want to highlight. Spotlight anyone you want to spotlight.
All right. Well, let's start with the seniors then. We got a roster of 5 seniors. They are a phenomenal group of kids, come from great families. We've had a lot of fun this summer. We had an awesome summer season at Wheeling, the Highlands, and it consists of Olivia Fankhauser, Audrey Scott, Morgan Martin, Olivia Huff, and Katie Fluharty. Katie and Olivia are middles. Katie also plays right side. Morgan and Audrey are defensive specialists and liberos, and Olivia Fankhauser is a defensive specialist. Our juniors, we got 6 juniors. Alexandra Ash, middle outside. Haley Teitman is a setter. Kendra Teitman, libero, defensive specialist. Faith Bell, right side. Presley Meadows, right side. And Rebecca Evans, setter and outside. And then we have a sophomore, Megan Maxwell. She will play middle and outside. And then Ellie Johnson will come up and help us a little bit with defense specialist and libero. So that's our roster for varsity.
Coach, every team has something they're really good at, something that they have as a strength. What are some of the strengths of this team that you're going to lean on this year when you game plan against teams?
Yeah, our serving has been great this summer, and coming in, I coached back in 2010 to 15, and that's the first thing I really noticed about this team was they really serve well, and they can pick spots and pick apart teams. And I'm excited to work with that and try to make it even better. We got tall girls. We got 3 girls that are at least 5'11" or taller. So that's going to be fun. So I think that a strength of ours is going to be blocking at least come mid-season once they, feel comfortable in the positions. We kind of moved them around from the positions that they're comfortable in club and things like that to make sense for our personnel. So they got to get used to the differences and the changes that they're personally going to be facing before they become very efficient in those positions. So I think blocking and serving probably the two biggest.
Looking at last year too, I think the record's very deceiving because a lot of the games too, you guys took at least a set from a lot of teams. So what are some things you think you can improve on from last year's team that can turn those games into wins?
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot too. We talked about that this summer. Their record last year, trying to get that completely wiped off of their slate because that's not the record this team should have. So team defense has been a huge focus and knowing where our responsibilities are at all times. And I think honestly that in itself is going to make some huge differences with hopefully ticking over some of those win column tallies.
When we look at your schedule, obviously we know how tough this Buckeye 8 conference is with teams like Beaver Local, East Liverpool, Harrison Central, teams like that. But then you have some tough non-conference games as well. As you put together the schedule, what are some teams that you're really excited to see your girls go up against, and how much do you think it'll prepare you for the postseason?
Yeah, that's kind of like the talk this preseason is our schedule is tough, and we talked to other coaches here at Edison. Even just in Edison, and they're saying the same thing. We still have a tough schedule while everybody else, as our enrollment dwindles at Edison. I was just talking to my principal 5 minutes ago, and we're getting down below 100 here soon, pretty steadily in each class. So I think, as we dwindle, I still want to face tough teams. We had 50 kids sign up on our roster. We got 29 still. And when we have that many kids, I still want to compete. I still want to play those harder teams. So I think East Liverpool, my girls are really excited to play. They're interested. First game's Beaver, of course. So they're interested to see, where they're at. It's a good litmus test to come out the gates and play a team that's, established like them. And Toronto is always a good one to try to see, where you're at compared to last year's record, coming off of, I think they were 3 or 4 wins last year from what they tell me. So I think those 3 probably, and in the terms of them being our rivals and closer, is what they're excited and getting to look forward to going into tournaments to see where we're at.
Your participation numbers, I'm completely impressed with too. I mean, that's just incredible. What's the secret? I'm sure, as a lot of small schools are asking too, for dwindling numbers to be able to draw so many girls into a program like this.
Honestly, I have no idea. Like I said, I was coaching before and left for a while, had 3 kids, and I came back into it. So I walked into 50 kids on the sign-up sheet, and I was very surprised. So maybe I'll know more answers in a couple of years, but right now I don't have that answer.
So obviously, you stepped away from coaching to build a family, and I'm sure while you were doing that, the itch for coaching kept coming up. What was it that finally made it, okay, it's time to come back. I got to come back and try to coach volleyball again. What was it about coaching, not just at Edison, but coaching in general, that made you want to come back and do it?
Well, the unfortunate passing of Coach Smith, our girls at Edison have had to deal with something that not a lot of high school girls have had to deal with last season. And I honestly think that just knowing that they were going through a lot, and, I had my family kind of set. We now have a 7-year-old, 5-year-old, and 2-year-old, and my husband coaches varsity at Creek as well. So we kind of just said, we'll make it work. And these girls are going to need somebody who's been there before and know what's going on to have a successful season. So it was really just trying to come back to help the program and the girls out.
It felt like a call to action too to the community that you felt like you needed to make. What is that love for Edison like too, and where did that love start, and how deep is that love for this community?
So I went to Edison. I played at Edison. I went and played at Teal College and came back and wanted to get a job here. I feel a very deep sense of community here with my coworkers and community in general. This rural setting for me is definitely home. It's where I've wanted to raise my family. It's always been exactly what I needed in my life. So just wanting to be able to help be the village that raises up more generations that can stay here and feel comfortable here. And I feel like coaching is a huge way to help the community and the kids understand that it's a good community and they can stay here and work here and live here and love it as much as I do.
We know team chemistry is so important. What are some of the things that you like to do as far as team bonding activities with this group?
Oh, this group, honestly, it's so organic with them. They love it, and they've done a ton of things on their own. We had a meet the team night not too long ago, and all the fall sports went up into the stadium, and they were talking about they were introducing the teams and all of that, and the girls on their own, they all went out to eat after. I didn't have to do anything with that. They just kind of did it. We have something coming up. My little sister actually owns a business called Float the River in Cuyahoga Falls. A little plug for them. So we're going to take the girls up to float the river. It's just tubing on the Cuyahoga River. And this summer we did some things. We had team dinners and we played pool volleyball and volleyball at my house. We have a big grass court and a big pool, so they enjoyed that. It's like I said, it's been very organic because so far, knock on wood, no chemistry issues. They get along really well, and it's a lot of fun to be around it.
Coach, we also like to make sure that these coaching staffs get highlighted because we know that head coaches can't do it all by themselves. So I want to give you a chance to highlight them and some other big names in this program that you think deserve some spot.
Oh my goodness. So the first time I coached with Jim McMillian and Chris Turk, and those are some big names, and they're back with me, and I'm really excited to work with them again. I've missed them. And we got Keely Drabick. Oh, sorry, we have an announcement. Let me mute you for a second. Sorry, unpredictability of the preschool day.
It's all good. We can work with it.
So Keely Dravick and Holly Johns coached with Coach Smith last year, and they took over in that tragedy that occurred during season. They're back. So that's 4. We have Rebecca Antonelli, who coached at Toronto before. I've worked with her as a counselor here at Edison and grew to love her. She is here helping us this year as well. Kaylee Fisher was a libero for me the first round of coaching, and I asked her to come out. She has been an absolutely amazing addition to our staff. Sarah Evans used to coach junior high for me. Her daughter plays. Rebecca Evans is a junior on the team, and she's going to be the JV coach. It's hard when I have 9 people helping, and I know I'm forgetting one, and I can't remember. Oh, Amy Bordash. She's a Algebra 1 teacher here at the high school, and she's just really, really good with the younger kids, and I felt like we needed a big focus on the younger kids, and obviously a lot of those people are volunteers. And so they don't make it to every practice, and they're not at everything. But like you said, head coaches can't do it all. So I just try to find a really, really good staff of people around me to work on specific things. And so far, it's been working out wonderfully and really well.
I don't think anyone would complain about having too many assistant coaches. You have a great staff behind you. Before I let you go, you've been coaching for a while. I want to know, for young coaches that are getting started in the sport, what would be your biggest advice to them?
Honestly, you said it. You can't do it all, and you can't pin yourself up against other people and say, I got to be as good as this person, or I have to be just like this person, because you're not that person. So I think early in my career, I was trying to be other people and do as good as them. And you got to come to realize you got to coach how you coach, because your life isn't the same as theirs. And then just, again, you can't do it all. So make sure you got a really good group of people around you that are willing to support you in good and bad, and in adversity and good times, because it's going to happen. Seasons bring on the best and the worst in people.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a great preview of Edison volleyball. We're so excited to cover you all season, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me.